So it goes. Pro Stock Motorcycles getting ready to come up. This is session 1.
Karen Stouffer and Eddie Krawiec. Watch the Harley on the left of your screen. He's going to set both ends of the track record. #1 spot, 682 at almost 198 miles per hour. Some big speed out of that Harley Davidson.
And then in the third session, here is Hector Arana Jr. Look at this run on a single, a 682 with a 4. That is a track record and a career best as he goes #1, and Dad approves of that. Points in Pro Stock Motorcycle with all the bonus points added in. This is right up to the moment. Eddie Krawiec, that's a big lead over Karen Stouffer.
See the do or done line right above Michael Phillips, our most recent winner from Dallas. If he can go out and win here again, he'll probably move himself right up above that line and get back in this race.
Pro Stock Motorcycle, here we go. There is Michael Phillips. He's going to go side by side with the former champion L.E. Tonglet. And Michael Phillips, he's got a pretty good story going right now.
And that's why he's our Castrol GTX high mileage one to watch. Coming off his first win in Reading. He got first win of the season in Reading, moved from 10th to 7th in the points, but he's currently only qualified in the 11th position. Would love to get in the top half of the field right now.
Michael Phillips runs a 695, 192 miles an hour. He does not get into the top half. An improvement, though, for L.E., the 693 at 192, and that moves him up to 12.
Fram car now sitting #1 in points in the countdown. It's unbelievable. It's something I can't even hardly imagine, but whenever I go through every round and sitting around and having fans come telling me that you're doing a great job, it's a reality. I want to make it a real reality at the end of the year, but the bullseye is huge. Those guys are breathing down our neck like Antron and Worsham and Larry Dixon. I mean, they're hard to beat, so it's going to be tough. It's hanging all out until the finish.
17 races ago, you come out of Pomona, you're 7th in points. Now, I know everybody's not necessarily thinking about the points in the countdown then, but what are you thinking after really the first race that probably didn't maybe go as well as you'd hoped?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Whenever I first came back in to drive in a top fuel car this year, we showed up at Pomona, and I said, how awesome would that be? Starting back in top fuel again after taking a year off and winning. It didn't happen, but we were able to go out there, qualified well, win a couple of rounds, and it is what it is. But right now,
Squabbling with any of your top fuel teammates?
well, squabbles happen up there on the racetrack, okay? Back here in the pit area, yeah, they stay over there, I stay over here, we take care of it. We're all buddies, but out there on the racetrack, we're fighting.
He's got some fierce competition. 2 guys in his own camp, Tony Schumacher, Antron Brown, the Alan Nobby cars, but it's this man that's got the bullseye on his back heading into race day tomorrow, Paul.
You know, Dave, he looks particularly good today. Spencer Massey. Here's Andrew Hines and Jim Underdahl. Whoa, see him pick a wheel up. Hines is in the top half of the field at
Nice
7th,
run.
and now he moves up 3 positions. He's 4th. Jim Underdahl moves up as well to 11th.
Boy, it looked like Andrew did it the hard way.
Well, back in those Pro Stock Motorcycle pits, there's a monkey with a pacifier, and it's right next to Matt Smith Racing Truck. What's going on? I think there's more to this story. We'll have it for you. The Auto Plus Nationals. Angie Smith, who ran a career best ET in the 3rd session of qualifying, is on the line against Jerry Savoy. He's been part of that mixture of conversations, if that's what you want to call them.
That's a nice way to put it.
Trying to be nice.
Politically correct, I like it.
It's me.
Jerry Savoy's trying to get in the top half, and boy, he's really fighting that bike. Andy, as you said, made a great run the previous session, but fell off a little bit. 693, Jerry Savoy fell off big time, only a 699 at 188 miles per hour. They will stay 6th and 10th in the standings.
Didn't do anything for either one of them. But when we go back up to the starting line, here is Hector Arana and Matt Smith. Yeah, that's part of that whole thing we're talking about, because the Aranas were mad at Smith, and Smith was mad at the Aranas. Smith was mostly mad because he thought that Junior was going to wait for him because he had trouble with his bike last week during eliminations, and then it took off.
Well, and Matt Smith, it depends on who you talk to. Matt Smith asked them to let me start first because, as you said, they had problems getting the bike started. Hector Arana and Junior said they did wait for him to attempt to start it. Once it looked like they gave him a couple shots and they fired theirs. Matt Smith says they did not wait at all, and that's when the war of words really started going back and forth.
Right now, what matters is how they get down the track. Hector Arana, the quickest rider of all time, with a 6:77 with a 7. And this field right now is the quickest pro stock motorcycle field ever.
Talked with Hector. He's on that new motorcycle, and he said he felt confident coming in this race that they're getting all the bugs worked out. He's made some good runs, but he hasn't been doing it consistently, but he felt like this was the race he's going to turn it all around. Good 60 foot for Hector. Matt, too.
6:83 with a 1 for Hector. He'll stay where he is. Matt Smith moved up to 6th place. That's 2 positions with a 6:86. But you know what kind of got me? I didn't really see a shift light over on Matt Smith's side. Maybe it's not as bright. Well, let's take a listen to what these guys said earlier.
That's what I'm upset about. They didn't wait at that point. It doesn't matter what happens after that. Rick Stewart's going to give us time to try to start the bike up. It was a simple fact before that. That's what my problem was. Because I wanted to be a fair race. I want to have a race. The fans out here that come to this NHRA track, they want to see side-by-side racing. They don't want to see a single. You know, even if they had waited one time, it still wouldn't have started. So I'm not mad about that. We had problems. I'm just mad because they didn't give us the time to try that. You know, one simple thing. You've got chickens and alligators and lizards going on, and they're feuding, but I wasn't feuding. You know, I just had a problem, and that's what I asked to do.
We're here to win this championship. I'm trying to get the Rookie of the Year, and I got to do what I got to do. And I can't wait for him to fix his problem when it should be fixed before he gets to the starting line. Am I surprised that Matt Smith's complaining? No.
How come?
It's just just who he is. I'm not surprised.
And the beat goes on in pro stock motorcycle. No change for either Karen Stouffer or Eddie Krawick. They stay where they were.
Well, as I said, the issue is whether they waited or not. And the bottom line, I mean, Matt Smith couldn't even get the bike started into the evening. They kept trying to get it fired up, so it wasn't going to make any difference at all. But, you know, they should have at least gave Matt Smith the attempt to get the thing fired. If he couldn't, then, you know, I mean, Rick Stewart ain't going to let him wait forever to try to get that bike started, and they got to do what Rick Stewart tells them to do. And if he tells them to go in and fire it up and go, that's what you got to do.
Well, in fact, we did see Rick Stewart waving Hector Jr. in. There is Rick Stewart, the official starter of the NHRA. What a long day he's had with all this weather that's been in and out of the area. While we're talking pro stock motorcycle, let's look at some of the barriers since back in 1987 and think about the next one, which is 200 miles an hour.
Eddie Krawick currently with the fastest speed ever in March, 199 miles per hour. Like we heard him say yesterday, he says, probably going to need a tailwind. Get a little tailwind tomorrow, watch out.
Steve Johnson could do with a tailwind. Wow, he doesn't have a motor, but look at Junior. Junior runs a 6:83, 194 miles an hour, and he stays number 1, that guy.
His number 1 qualifying pass, the 6:82.4, that actually bumped out Karen Stouffer's run and L.E. Tonglet. So right now, the top 10 quickest runs in the motorcycle category, all dominated by the Buells and the V-Rods.
The Lucas Oil ladder as Steve Johnson tries to get his Suzuki back behind the line once again. Here is the way the Lucas Oil Pro Stock motorcycle ladder looks as we get ready for final eliminations. Andrew Hines and L.E. Tonglet will face one another. Now, Andrew sits 5th in the points, and L.E., he's right behind him at 6th.
We take a look at the other side of the ladder. You got countdown contenders. Matt Smith going up against Jimmy Underdahl. Matt will have the lane choice in that matchup, and his wife, Angie Smith's going to try to help him out by taking Jerry Savoy out in that first round matchup.